Three, two, one. Hello and welcome to the Boys Upstairs Week 4 NFL show.
Woo!
There's some energy right there. Okay, we got a little bit of a fuller barn than I expected today, so I'll keep my week 3 recap short that I've been doing. I'm just gonna say the Bears are back, and the locks coming up are gonna prove that the Bears are back. Caleb is the best quarterback in the world, and we got a doubling game, and it's a shame our boy Scott can't be here with us. So let's jump right into it. Vikings Steelers in Dublin in Scott's mainland. We miss you, buddy. Vikings are minus 2.5, over under 40.5. Jake, what do you got?
All right, so I'm walking through Brickell right now. If you hear the Lambos flaring their engines behind me, please disregard them. Just listen to me. I got facts and facts only. Let me explain something to you. Pittsburgh, you guys kind of let Justin Fields cook. You kind of let Drake May cook. You beat, I'm sorry, and you lost to Sam Darnold, even though you beat the Jets and the Patriots. Hasn't always been pretty. Now we're going into Dublin. I have never seen an NFL team be able to play a game and have a bye at the same time until I saw the Minnesota Vikings last week. If Isaiah Rodgers was on the field by himself, he would have beaten the Cincinnati Bengals. He had two defensive touchdowns. The Bengals only scored 10 points. That essentially was a way for Wentz to ease his way into the offense. J.J. McCarthy, he is out. We miss him. Postman, I still believe. I know you believe. But listen, Carson Wentz is at the helm. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go over there. We're going to have a ground and pound attack. Jordan Mason's going to score a touchdown. I'm not putting that on my card because it's minus money. Jordan Addison is fresh off his suspension from driving while having a few diet frescas. I expect him to be ready, guns blazing, to go into motorcycles. These guys. Listen, Jordan Addison is going to be heavily involved. Justin Jefferson is going to be heavily involved. The Steelers' defense is supposed to be their strength. So far, it's been their weakness. And I think Rodgers threw for a buck 39 last week. That's not sustainable. Minnesota's going to go in there. They're going to control the time of possession. Great coaching matchup. You guys know how I love Mike Tomlin, but I think Kevin O'Connell has the offensive scheme. I think Minnesota wins this game, probably lower scoring than maybe some admit. I don't know what the over-under is. I think I'm a 24-20 Minnesota Vikings win. Give me the Minnesota Vikings minus 2.5. Give me a Jordan Addison touchdown. And the boys are going to get their first win in Ireland. I think it's the first Ireland game in the history of the NFL. Hopefully it is. Someone fact check me. And Purple Pride is going to be raining down. Now I'm going to pass it over to Tommy, and he's going to disagree with about everything that I just said. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, it's good to have you back, Jake. I'm very excited for this game. Obviously, Ireland is like going to be an electric environment. They love football over there. We've seen it with the Irish college football games in past years. But Steelers are Ireland's team, and they are going to be having a base. I would say it's going to be like a home game crowd there. Jake's not wrong that the defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers has been lackluster. It's been very disappointing and frustrating as a fan, especially because they're the highest paid defense in the league. I think they were a little better this past week against New England. Obviously, they forced 5 turnovers, but we almost still found a way to lose that game, which I think I'm not wrong in saying that would have been the first time a team ever forced 5 turnovers and lost a game. So it was good that we got out of there a win. Not everybody's 2-1. Nixon's not here right now, so I'm not going to talk too much about the Ravens, but some teams are 1-2. Pittsburgh Steelers are first in the division right now. And Jake, I do give credit to Carl Wentz. I was not a believer. I took my lock last week as the under in that game because of two backup quarterbacks. But Cincinnati Bengals went all in on pretty much Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They don't have a guy to get those guys the ball now. Jake Browning not proving to be Jake Browning of a couple of years ago in his first start. So I don't really know how much I can buy into like, oh, the Vikings are still good because they beat up on Jake Browning. But looking forward to this game, I do feel like it's going to be a low-scoring game, like Jake kind of alluded to. Steelers offense is not electric. It's the Steelers offense. It's going to be boring. It's going to be probably a not very fun game to watch other than it being in Dublin. Obviously, I'm a Steelers fan, so I want Steelers to win. It's minus 2.5 or minus 3.5, Sam.
It's
Two and a half.
Minnesota by 2.5.
Yeah, two and
Two
a
and a
half.
half. Yeah. I'm going to take the points there. I don't love it. It's a weird number, but if it comes down to Chris Bodwell kicking a field goal, kissing it with his toe,
When it
and
comes to special teams, Pittsburgh's got the advantage. Even I will admit that.
unless Caleb Johnson is back there returning kicks, which he no longer is. But Yeah, give me the Steelers. I think it's going to be an ugly game, and I think the Steelers are going to find a way in Dublin to get the win. So Steelers plus 2.5.
I'll go after you real quick, Tommy, so I don't listen to everyone else and go on for too long. Um, I'm gonna go with the Steelers because of the fact that the Steelers are Ireland's team, and despite the fact that Scott's a Cowboys fan, I think he'll bring a little energy on our behalf, which has largely been a Steelers back podcast forever. I believe I took the over on this one as well. And I'm doing that because this feels like a game that there's going to be points scored in weird ways. I feel like Jake's right that there's that it's going to be a boring game. I feel like Tommy's right, or Tommy's the one who said that it's going to be a boring game, but the Steelers this year have had some kind of juju going where it's like they play really boring football and then somehow find a way to end up in like a 24-21 game. And with 40 and a half, that covers that. And 40 and a half isn't a ton of points. We've been seeing offenses go off. Aaron Rodgers did say that a Dublin, what's it called? Guinness on tap is his favorite beer. So I think that'll bring him a little extra juice in a foreign country. You never know what kind of drugs he'll dabble into over there. But give me the Steelers. It'll give them a head start so Tomlin can get his 9-8 record again and keep that streak alive. And then they'll probably end up like 7-2 and then flame out and win the ninth game in January. Um, Not much else to say, but the game last week with the Vikings and the Bengals was an absolute wash. I mean, that was pretty embarrassing from the Bengals. And yeah, I mean Carson Wentz, we talked about him. He's a ball spinner, but Steelers defense, I think there's a time for them to get back going. I think a time might be next week. Go ahead, Postman.
Oh shit, sorry, I got a little dark. So I actually initially picked the Steelers, but just a little prelim. I'm gonna be changing that pick. I'll tell you why I'm changing that pick. Well, I initially picked the Steelers because the Vikings were my team for about 2 weeks well, 3 weeks as JJ McCarthy, or 2 weeks, no, first 2 weeks of the year at JJ McCarthy at the helm. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. So, not to any fault of the Vikings, but I was shunning them. But listening to Jake, it brought me back. I'm back. Give me Vikings minus 2.5 in Dublin against a quote unquote home crowd of Steeler Nation. Go Vikes.
Just a quick note for all the viewers out there. Postman is the worst sports fan in the history of sports fans, so don't be surprised by any of that. But
That's
yeah,
just so false.
no.
Here's my defense to that.
He's
One,
up there with
my
Cam.
team is awful. I'm never leaving the Dolphins, but the season's over, and I love the NFL too much. So I'm not just gonna sit by and like not watch the NFL for the rest of the year. So I have a rooting interest for the Vikings with JJ McCarthy at quarterback. I'm obviously not a Vikings fan, but I need something to look forward to. Otherwise, there's no it's week 4 and I don't have a team anymore. You gotta give me a little slack.
So if the Vikings with JJ McCarthy and the Dolphins are both playing at the same time, which one are you watching?
Right this season,
Yeah, like
I'm
when.
watching the Vikings 100%.
Okay. All right.
Sean, what do you got for us, dude?
What up, fellas? I'm watching National Treasure, so sorry if you hear Nicolas Cage. Um, Two things. One, Steelers all the way. I don't think that's a question. The only thing I'm worried about is if they go out the night before, get a little drunk in Dublin, might be a little hungover for the game. Only concern there. But I think Rodgers, like we've been saying, is going to play a very boring but timely and methodical game. He's going to hand it off to Warren. It's going to be a 7-14 shootout. I do like Carson Wentz, but I don't think he's showing up in Dublin here. Give me the Steelers with the points.
I will say, Sean, it made me think of one thing. The only thing that I'm worried about is if Carson Wentz comes out hot, throws a touchdown, first drive of the game or something, takes off his helmet, and the Irish crowd sees that he's a ginger, they might start rooting for Carson Wentz a little bit. So that might be not great for the Steelers. But
Well,
uh,
the thing that I found interesting was that the Steelers obviously with the whole Irish background is big, but the Vikings, like they have a big Irish background as well. Like all those Nordic people coming over, there might be some
The Vikings came through and pillaged Ireland back in the
Nordic is not Irish.
well, yeah, they're not from Ireland, but they came in and like did bad things to Irish ladies.
Right, right. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just wouldn't be surprised if there were Vikings fans. That's what I'm saying.
I don't really have much data behind the Irish heritage of the Steelers and the Rooney family leading my charge to take Steelers spread here. I mean, you like to take Mike Tomlin as an underdog. He typically performs well at home when he's a dog, and like this being a neutral site game makes that the hypothesis a little bit more cloudy. I'm also going to take the over here. I think the Vikings pro will prove themselves that they were able to score a lot of points. Granted, 14 of those were on defense last week, but the Steelers offense, when it hits, it certainly hits. Like you have Aaron Rodgers rolling out and throwing dots 35, 40 yards down the field, like he's in his 20s again. So I think I like the Steelers here. I think I like the Viking. I think I like the over, and it'll be a fantastic game to watch. I can't wait.
Go take us away.
All right, so as I finally get to say, I am going to pretty much totally agree with Martin. Um, I am taking the Vikings in this one. As a Patriots fan, I watched every single snap of last week's monstrosity disaster of a football game. Um, the Steelers, I mean, they played a great game. Their defense made plays. Shout out to them. I'm not hating, but they scored like 21 points, and I think 14 of them came when they started within their own 25-yard line because we fumbled the ball. Um, Minnesota's a lot older of a team. Carson Wentz is a veteran quarterback. Not McCarthy. McConnell or O'Connell, Kevin O'Connell. He's a veteran coach. The team is a lot more poised. I feel like they're not going to make mistakes like that for Pittsburgh to take advantage of because against us, like they gave us every opportunity to win that game and we just didn't take it. We just fumbled it away, literally and metaphorically. And I think the Vikings are probably going to play a lot smarter, a lot tighter of a game. And the Vikings showed that they're good, they're coached great, their team is great, even though they're having a little bit of trouble at the quarterback position. Wentz played good last week, but is it sustainable? I think they're well enough coached to where they can win a managed football game. Run the clock, get up early, and play your game. Addison's coming back. They have weapons. They have a defense. They have Brian Flores. So I definitely think that they take this one. The Steelers, their defense hasn't been what it normally is in the past couple of years. Their offense hasn't really been clicking since the first game. So I'm taking the Vikings. I am going to take the over because obviously, like I just mentioned, Steelers defense isn't what it once was, or it looks like it so far. They're at least struggling to start the year. So I think the Vikings should be able to move the ball against them. And I think in Dublin, I feel like Aaron Rodgers got to respond. I feel like they just played such a terrible game last week that he probably, even though they won, he probably doesn't feel good about it. As a perfectionist, as a quarterback, he probably, that's a good win, but it was an ugly win. So I feel like he definitely and the whole team is probably making it a point to be a lot better on offense this week. So I think the Vikings in the over.
Got all the fellas here for Viking Steelers, I see. Um
Yeah, Joey just texted me that he's gonna be back momentarily, but it should
he's a lock. Joe's a lock master, so that's fine. We'll move on to
probably going. He's probably going Steelers though, I would say.
yeah. I'll take Joe at his word, or I'll take you at your word. Joe's probably going Steelers. For the record, Joe is a Steelers fan, not a Commanders fan. So we'll move on.
It really depends on the day because when we went to Steelers Commanders last year, he was wearing a Commanders jersey. But his mom's from Pittsburgh, and sometimes he's a Pittsburgh fan. So who knows?
That's quite disloyal of our friend of the program, Joey Suarez. But nevertheless, we'll move on. Got Eagles visiting the Buccaneers, two teams that actually had quite exciting games in the week three that featured probably like 15 blocked kicks and punts and whatever. The Eagles and the Bucs were responsible for probably nine of them. So if Postman decides to come back, it is up to him. Doesn't seem like he's going to do so. So I will take this one and I will be brief because I don't like the spread at all. 3.5. The Bucs are a 3-0 team. They've been in weird games all year. And I mean, just shout out to my guy Baker. The dude is just a warrior. And all three games that they've won, they've gone ahead on a last drive score, led by Baker. I mean, the dude scrambles, he throws, he knows how to hand the ball off. He has a good clean handoff motion. Um, Good screens, good everything. Baker's just a gamer. And then their defense, Todd Bowles sent in the house. The Eagles are 3-0 somehow, although they did not look great for a lot of the time. Um, and they had a miraculous comeback against the Rams too. But 3.5's weird. I'm just going with the over here. And I think defenses could take control for a lot of the first half. And I might add a first half under here to my card. But both of these teams are known for rallying late, especially the Bucs. So I could easily see this as a 13-10 going into the fourth and ending at 27-20. I will pass on to whoever's ready to go next. Oh, Tommy, I guess it's you.
Yeah, I got it. I was in the closet. I was getting my Baker jersey. I got some data here for you guys. Um, since 2024, the Bucs or the Eagles have faced 7 teams more than one time. They are above 500 straight up against all 6 except one, the Buccaneers. They're 0-2 straight up against the Buccaneers, and they are 1-6 straight up against the Buccaneers since 2015. In Baker's last 2 games against the Eagles, he has 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 684 passing yards, and a over 60 completion percentage. Baker is probably my favorite player in the NFL right now. And I think a lot of people agree with that. He's just electric. He's a fun guy to watch play football, and he gets in people's face. And he's like always had the underdog thing. So it's like it just makes it like you want to root for him. Um, like Sam mentioned, 3.5, horrible number, but the Bucs have been able to find ways to win, and they've had the Eagles number the last few years. So really not much, this game could go either way. Like who knows? They're 2 good teams. Eagles are probably the best team in the league. On paper, when it's all said and done, they're probably the number 1 team in the NFL. But the Bucs just kind of have that it factor, and I think the Bucs are going to win this game straight up. But I'm going to take the plus 3.5. And I still have yet to take a total this year in any of these games we've picked because I just don't like any of the numbers, and it's too early to tell. But I'm going to take the Bucs.
I'm going next. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback that. That's why I'm hopping in. I agree with everything Tommy just said. Baker's electric underdog story. He's on my fantasy team. I really haven't seen the spark that I saw in the Eagles last year as I do this year. I mean, they're still the Super Bowl champs and they're undefeated, right? Yeah. I don't know. Like Saquon is a little less than what he was last year. He might have the Madden curse. Is he still going to have an insane season? That's a question there. Um, Hurts looking good, but like I don't know. The Bucks have all the juice, and I'm going to take the Bucks in this.
Really quick,
I
also, one point I forgot to make. Sorry, Poston. What the fuck are we doing with this schedule? Like, why is this game at 1 o'clock? Like, I'm gonna have to watch like 15 other games at the same time while I really just want to watch this game. And then we've got Packers Cowboys in Sunday Night Football, and we've got fucking Jets Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Like, why are we doing this? Like, nobody wants to watch
To,
those
to,
games.
to be to be completely fair, a healthy Cowboys team without Matt Eberflus like versus the Packers would actually be quite entertaining. But here
But
we
like, okay, like I get it. Like, and it's also the Micah storyline. Like, cool, whatever. That's fine for a 4:25 start. Like, but Bucks Eagles is primetime football. Like, it's definitely not 1 o'clock football. Like, and
Well,
having the Giants in fucking primetime. Like, what are we doing?
that's the question. Can you flex a game this early? Like I don't
No,
think you can.
you're
It's because of the
you're not allowed
markets,
to. They
dude.
need to change that. They need to change that
They
rule.
don't
Like,
care about the matchups. They just care about what's the largest
Philadelphia
market.
is a big market. Philadelphia's a big market. Tampa Bay,
But Tampa
not
Bay's
is
not.
that big. Okay, but Green Bay is like the smallest market in the NFL by a million miles. So like it's just Dallas carrying them to that, and they don't have CD. Like they're gonna get blown out. So
Yeah. Okay, I'm going next. And again, as Sean did as well, I'm gonna piggyback because I basically took the words out of my mouth. I'm just a Baker guy. This guy's legit. He just plays with a certain gumption and chip on his shoulder that I want on my team. I want to play for Baker. I want the Dolphins to get Baker or somebody that's not a little pussy like Tua. Anybody, I love Baker Mayfield. That being said, I am taking the Bucks with the points. obviously, primarily because of the Baker storyline, but also because the Eagles have been kind of skating by. I don't know if I go as much as maybe what Sean said. I still think they're a very legitimate contender in the NFC, but they're looking like they're covering up some holes on these like last second victories that I do think are going to get exposed this week. I'm also taking the over. It's 43 and a half. That's pretty low. And I understand both of these defenses are good, but as I do on this show, if you for those who've seen last year, I just go off of vibes and gut feelings, and I just sense a shootout. I sense Baker turning it on, and then in turning it on, the Eagles adjust and accept the shootout. So I'm going over 43 and a half. I'm excited to watch.
Um, I hate to like carry on the same thing that everyone's saying, but a lot of people just made the exact points that I think. Like Tommy made a great point. From what I remember over the last couple of years, the Eagles absolutely have had their number. The Bucks have absolutely had the Eagles number like easily. I mean, they beat him in the playoffs when no one thought that was going to happen. They beat him again in the regular season. This is just one of those matchups where like the Bucks just match up well with the Eagles, and obviously, like everyone says, Baker's that guy. Emeka Ibuka is absolutely that guy. Might be offensive rookie of the year right now. Obviously, no Mike Evans, but that receiver room is deep. What's his name? Jalen McMillan. He's an absolute dog. No one really talks about him, but he's a dog. They have Tez Johnson. Um, they have Bucky and Rashad White who can get active in the passing game. Kate Otton's a solid tight end. So I feel like the Bucks have had their number. They're off to a hot start. They're really good this year. I don't see why that would change. Like Postman said, the Eagles have been kind of skating by. I still think they're a great team, but I think that the fact that this is a team that they struggle to a lot, they struggle to play against a lot, and that they're struggling to start the year. I feel like this just makes sense that the Bucks. It's also in Tampa. Eagles have really struggled in Tampa. I believe last time they were there, they didn't, they scored like 9 points or something. So I feel like the Bucks definitely are going to take this game, and I'm going to also go with the over. Bucks offense looking really good. Eagles offense looking really good. Well, not looking really good, but I think it's getting better every week, and I think it's going to continue to get better, especially for this game. They know that they've struggled against the Bucks. They know that they have to make an effort to get out in front early. And I feel like since they've been getting better every week, this is going to be a big test for them. And I think Jalen Hurts always rises to the occasion. Saquon, all those guys. They finally got AJ Brown re-involved in the offense, and the Bucks offense is just clicking on all cylinders. So I'm taking the Bucks in the over.
I um I have no problem swimming against the tide here. The Bucks offense is clicking on all cylinders, and the Eagles are the ones scraping by. The Bucks are 3-0. They have won their first three games by a combined 6 points. Their three wins so far, year to date. Buccaneers 23, Falcons 20. They're the team that actually just put up a donut last week. Next game, Buccaneers 20, Texans 19. CJ Stroud, he's not the same guy. They replaced him with JC Stroud. Buccaneers 29, Jets 27. Barely beat the New York Jets. Guys, not that I'm doubting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Baker and the Moxie and everything. Shout out Moxies and Brickle. This is not a team that the Eagles are going to struggle with. I don't think. Like it'll will it be a great game? Will it be a shootout? Sure. Eagles are going to pull away in this one. Don't have a view on the total. But the Eagles are. I mean, the Bucks are very banged up. The Eagles are the more complete team. I did see that they signed the Death Star Desmond Watson from Florida to potentially try and stop or mitigate the tush push to the best of their ability. The problem is they keep getting away with the false starts. So I'd be curious to see if the NFL can do a better job of monitoring that. And even if they get any fourth and ones, because they're just going to waste cap space on this dude who's literally 465 pounds. So I don't know. But give me the Eagles spread here. The Bucks are not as good as they think they are.
Interesting. All right. Uh,
We need Jake, don't we?
Jake, what do you got for us? Since Jake's obviously ordering Vegas bombs at the bar, we're gonna go into the best part of the show, Mortal Locks. I'm 0-3 on locks, and I'm going to start off. Postman, you can go next. I know you're really antsy to do this, but it's all Bears. The Bears are an underdog against the Las Vegas Raiders, who just went and got their shit kicked in by Marcus Mariota. Um, After last week, going and just putting a pummeling on Eberflus, I think that was a real wake up moment for our football team, and it was a real kind of coming to Jesus. Ben Johnson got in his bag a little bit. Caleb looked great. I mean, looked awesome all game. Barely any mistakes. I mean, he threw like one duck to DJ Moore on a third down or something, but that was about it. Otherwise, he was nearly flawless. Just running the ball well, extended drives, conversions on third down, situational, complementary football. Go into Vegas, kick their teeth in, do what you got to do, and move on into the bye. And then you got the Commanders in prime time right after that. This is a huge 2 game stretch, carry a lot of momentum out of winning a game here. And after what I saw last week from this offense and this defense missing Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, arguably, well, the best defensive player, probably the best player on the team in Johnson, and Kyler Gordon, one of the best nickelbacks in the game, and still having guys step up. Tyreek Stevenson had an amazing game. Tremaine Edmonds with 2 picks. It's a next man up mentality, and I really like the football team I watched on Sunday at 4:25 Eastern time in America's Game of the Week. So give me them. I feel like it's disrespectful, but you know what? I like being disrespected and being an underdog. So bear down.
Okay, Sam, I respect that homer take. I don't
It's the Raiders. Are you gonna disagree
yeah.
with me?
Is there a better team in the NFL right now than the Los Angeles Chargers? The answer is no. Justin Herbert is the star boy that everybody thought he was going to be. And you want to know why? It's because he's got the GOAT at the helm. The guy who was only good because he had Connor Stallions is somehow amazing coach in the NFL as well. Not that surprising. They're playing the New York Giants, who suck, plain and simple. Not only do they suck, they just benched their former or future Hall of Fame quarterback who threw for 450 yards last week or 2 weeks ago for a 22-year-old who sucks. And the spread is 5.5. I don't get it. I understand it's the NFL, and we can't necessarily be getting massive spreads like the Bills game at minus 16.5 every week, but this game's not going to be close. I think this is easily an 8.5, 9.5 spread that they're going to blow out anyway. Give me Chargers spread lock.
I kind of hope someone was going to take the Bills 16 and a half because Anthony and I said it in the group chat that 16 and a half spread in week 4 is fucking ridiculous.
Dude, it's too
There's
low.
there's a lot of there's a lot of picks left. Somebody might take it.
Well, look,
With
hey,
that being
you said it. Take
with
it away.
that being said, with that being said, I'm taking the Jets Dolphins over on Monday night.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm taking for my lock. Reason for that being, let me read some of the data. The over is 8-2 in the Jets' last 10 games, and the last 7 home games that the Dolphins have had at Hard Rock, the over is 7-0. Look,
Peter.
I, I looked at the rest of these games. Didn't love any of them from a spread perspective, and obviously 16.5 is a lot of points, but it's probably not enough when just considering the two opposites of the spectrum that the Bills and the Raiders are, or sorry, and the Saints are. That being said, I look at this game and I'm just like, these are just 2 teams that they'd already know like they're not really playing for anything this year. Probably a must-win game for the Dolphins. Probably. I always thought they were going to split the series with the Jets, but it'd be a lot easier to split it if they win at home first. But I'm not playing for that. Give me a lot of points. It's like what 42.5. That's just a couple touchdowns here. Probably be some garbage time scores. Final score of like 28-24, and then we clip the over in the fourth quarter. But yeah, give me the over on the Dolphins Jets. Excuse me.
Next, it's me. So, uh, guys, one of the most surprising teams, not surprising, but maybe not talked about enough, is the Browns. They held their own with the Ravens. They beat what everyone thought was the best team, the Packers, last week. Held in there. They got pretty scrappy defense. As much as I hate the whole Garrett is better than Watt conversation, he's a good player. They're plus 10 against the Lions, who people think might be a step down from the Lions of last year. I still think they're pretty good, but I think I think the Browns are going to hold their own this week. So I'm all about the big spreads, and I actually think this one will come to fruition. So give me the Browns +10.
Hey. I got, it's to quote my dear friend Anthony Rooney. God forbid a white boy get a little bit of motion. And I need to get back to the bar because I am pursuing something. But let me tell you this. Sorry that these bartenders down here, they take forever. Yeah, I had to wait to get a Mick Ultra is all I wanted. It took 10 goddamn minutes. Let me explain something to you. The Philadelphia Eagles, I don't care what anybody says. I think the Rams covered that game. That last play was nonsense. The Cowboys covered against them. This team, they're probably going to win the game, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win by 2 or 3 points, which means Tampa covers. Baker Mayfield, Tommy Rooney, I've been doing this show with you for 4 years, brother. I've been anti-Baker Mayfield from day one. My goodness, he is becoming an MVP candidate. Their division is soft. They might be the number 1 seed if they win this game. They're going to have home, like as far as the tiebreakers go, they're going to have the pathway to the number 1 seed. I think Tampa covers. I might bet on them to win outright. I'm not going to do that on this show. I'm going to take Tampa Bay +3.5. But the Eagles are not a perfect team. They're a great roster, but their offense is boring, and Saquon hasn't gotten going yet. And Jalen Hurts doesn't throw outside the numbers that much. When he does, it's effective. They should do it more. A.J. Brown had a great game last week. I'm going to take Tampa +3.5. Now, lock. Sam Massara. You're on cloud 9, aren't you, brother?
Hell yeah, man.
Look at you bobbing your head.
They're
Listen,
down.
as good as the Bears are, as good as the Bears looked last weekend, this is honestly more about the Raiders. They can't block. I was a big believer in Ashton Genty. I thought he should have won the Heisman. Sam, don't hate me. He has not gotten going. Geno Smith has played very, very poorly. The Bears are plus money. I think the game is in Vegas, but Vegas, I was just there. It's a very, all-encompassing city. There's going to be a lot of Bears fans at that stadium. I think the Bears go into Vegas, win outright. My lock of the week, which I'm 3-0 on locks. You want some money, listen to me right now. Chicago's going to go in there. DeAndre Swift's going to have a big game. Roma Dunze, DJ Moore. DJ Moore is playing like running back a little bit. Fucking Ben Johnson's just shaking things up. So I think that all the running backs are hurt besides Swift. Whatever. Listen, Caleb Williams is a guy. Caleb Williams is the mascot of this show for as far as I'm concerned with how much we believe in this young man. He's going to go into Vegas on Sunday, and he ain't leaving without a victory. Give me the Chicago Bears as my lock of the week, +1.5. Now, gentlemen, I must return to the bar.
Thank you, Jake.
God bless.
Good luck. All right, I'll follow it up here. I do like the Bears, and I saw that multiple people had picked the Bears, and I assumed that Sam was going to take the Bears regardless. So I decided to go a different direction. Another game that has a little bit of a weird spread, a little bit of a surprising spread. I'm taking the Washington Commanders -2.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. We saw last week Marcus Mariota bulldoze Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn pops up with the bloody nose. Just electric, an electric vibe. Marcus Mariota put up 41 points against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. This Atlanta Falcons team just got beat 30-0 against Carolina Panthers, who are the Carolina Panthers. Probably one of the most surprising games last week. I guess the Browns has to be the most. But this Commanders team is a good squad. I know Sam hates them. They have a lot of good pieces. They were in the NFC Championship game last year for a reason. JD obviously out, but Marcus Mariota, one of the better backups in the league. He proved it last week, putting up 40+ points. And he's going against a Falcons team that just got beat 30-0 against Bryce Young. I don't love the -2.5. Obviously, it's just a bad number, but I do think that they're going to cover -2.5. And yeah, also revenge game for Marcus Mariota, former Falcon, so that plays into it as well. So also a revenge game for Dan Quinn, former Falcon as well. Just thought of that. Yeah, give me Commanders -2.5 all day.
Kobe, you have waited long enough, or did you already go?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Take it away, brother.
Um, so I'm gonna touch on a game that everyone has touched on a little bit, but I'm taking something a little different. I am taking the Chicago Bears and the Las Vegas Raiders over of 47.5. Um, I think this pick is the easy lock of the week because well, let's talk about the Raiders first. They played a terrible game 2 weeks ago against the Chargers. Geno Smith threw 15 interceptions. They got blown out by the Chargers, and then even though they lost to Marcus Mariota, he quietly responded with a 29 for 39 game, 230 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. So even though they lost, he played a good game. Genti had one of his best games of the season, and I think that Genti comes along a little bit more every week. You see flashes from him. He hasn't been able to put it together yet, but I think he comes along a little bit every week. I think people were expecting him to rush for 100 yards a game for every single game of this. Like he was supposed to come out. He was getting drafted in fantasy leagues top 10. Like people were expecting him to come out and drop 100 yards per week. And just because that's not happening, that doesn't mean he's not good. Like I feel like since the bar was set so high, the fact that he didn't click right away, now people have already like, oh, what's his name? Scatterboo's the best running back in the class. So Hampton's about like, they're already giving it to Crosscut Merritt or whatever. So I think that he's coming along every week. I think Gino he responded from the Chargers game. I think that he can take advantage of a beat up Bears defense. Obviously, fully healthy is to be a different story, but the Bears defense is a little beat up, and we saw them do it against the Commanders. Well, they did it against my Patriots week one. Like they're not good, the Raiders, but they're good enough with Pete Carroll, Gino. Trey Tucker obviously had a legacy game last week. They have a great rookie receiver, Dante Thornton from Tennessee, who's a dog. Jacoby Myers never drops a ball. They have enough to win, especially with Pete Carroll at the helm to where they can take advantage and scheme well and do enough against defenses that are either not good or beat up or hurt. And I think they're really good at like sticking. I think they're really good at playing to their strengths and playing to other teams' weaknesses. Like they know they're not that talented, so what do we do well, and how can we exploit that? So I think that they're going to be able to put up some points because Bears defense obviously they played really good. Edmonds played really good, but I still think that defense is beat up and that Pete Carroll will be able to find a way to move the ball. And on the Bears side of things, their offense obviously looked absolutely electric. We all know Caleb's the guy. We've been saying Caleb's the guy. Roma Dunze is having a fantastic season. He had a solid rookie year, but people were like, dang, was that pick too early? He's coming out. He might be the best sophomore receiver in that class besides who's the other one? Neighbors? Or his neighbor's third year.
Marvin Harrison
Neighbors,
Jr.
neighbors, and Marvin.
Yeah, but I would
Brian,
say
Brian Thomas Jr. also, but he has been horrible this year.
I
But
would say up to right now, Odunze is doing the best out of, but maybe
Yeah,
besides
this
neighbors.
this year Odunze is the best.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously he's great. DJ Moore, Komet, Colson Loveland when they throw him the ball once every 77 snaps. Um, Swift healthy he's a good running back. He's a good player. And I think the offensive line showed like they got like three new starting new offensive. I think at least three, right? Sam probably knows, but
Yeah, the whole interior. They got two new guards and a new center.
right. So, again, everyone waits so long for football that when your team doesn't score 40 and win by 20 the first week, you're like people are ready to throw away the season. It takes time for an offensive line like that to click. So more than half the lines, then they have to connect with the quarterback, new playbook, new head coach. So everyone's learning a playbook. Like I think that the Bears are showing a lot of improvement. They're a lot better than they were. I think they're getting better every week. Caleb, he looked a little disgruntled the first couple games, a little like he wasn't totally settled in. He looked settled in against Dallas. Um, and I just think, Ben Johnson, he's getting, who he is. He's creative. He's getting more and more creative every week. Um, I just think that these offenses, the Raiders defense is some butt booty ass cheeks. So, the Bears just played their best game of the season. And that offense going into another game, they're building off that momentum to go against the Raiders defense, who, besides Max Crosby, is a bunch of Lehigh football players. Um,
top ten team in the country right now, bro.
I think that both offenses have a chance. I think the Bears are going to win, but I don't want to take that as my lock because that's already been touched on twice.
Well,
But I do.
I was following Jake and my fandom there because like I'm like 0-3, like I'm searching for answers here, and I saw Jake took that. And I'm like, all right, that I didn't want to be the guy that follows fucking Jake Lewis out of all people for a lock, but he went there, and I was like, you know what, I'm
I mean,
riding high off last week. We got to do it.
the thing is too with locks, it's like every week, like I'm on 3 too. I felt like a lot of conviction with each one of those three losses. And football is just football. Like the NFL, it's any given Sunday, anything can happen. So like who would have thought that Carson Wentz was going to put up 40 fucking points? Like so shit
Well, I
just happened.
mean that Isaiah, whatever his name, Isaiah something, whatever.
Rogers.
Yeah, Isaiah Rogers put up 14 points himself.
Yeah, he had 3 turns. I'm 2-1 with locks, but I didn't come on the first show. So every week I've been on the show, I've hit my lock. So if you want free money, it's the Bears and the Raiders over.
Fuck yeah. Well, I mean, before obviously pretty eventful show today. For anyone
What a show. What a
yeah,
program it
who's
was.
stuck with us. But yeah, just to give my little piece on the Bears before we break it off was that I mean Kobe like described it perfectly. And as speaking as a fan, it was like watching the offense being like, wow, last year it was like you saw the flashes from Caleb and all of that, but it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna sit through misery for 20 minutes and then wait for something to pop and wait for a big play to happen. But for the I would say each game this year, it's been like there's stuff there every single play. There's guys open, there's plays to be made, and the decision making was like a little rocky for the first two games, but once he got that down, it was like throwing darts all over the place. And what's not talked about enough of his performance last week, that those four touchdown passes were to four different receivers. And it's not like he went and picked his guy and just went to him all game. You can game plan against that. It's like you've got a whole plethora of weapons that you kind of got, and that was the design of the roster building and the coaching staff and whatever. That's like you got to defend against all of that. And then with the Raiders, what I didn't say during my lock was that like Gino has been good, or whatever, but their biggest weakness right now is their line. And we've had some trouble. Bears have had some trouble getting pressure down because in coverage they're pretty good. They don't blow coverage that often. They're very good on the ball or and off the ball, but if they get some pressure down, it's that makes the defense even stronger, even though they're banged up. But yeah, if
You guys, you
anyone's
guys
got some
also
nuggets to
played
add.
you also played the Vikings and the Lions the first 2 weeks. Those are two 14-win teams from last year. So like,
Yeah,
blowing
it
the
is. It is a go. It would have been nice to get one of those, especially the Vikings, because they blew that game hardcore. The
Happens.
Lions, I'm not really mad about because they've proven again this week that it's like they didn't slow down. They're legit.
those are two legit teams that you had to play. Obviously, it sucks going 0-2 in division to start the year, but like that's a gauntlet to begin, especially like everybody talked about in a new offense, new offensive line, all those things combined just makes it tough to
Yeah.
succeed right away against a good team. But Sean, what's going on here? Are you making a beer wall or what have you been up to this whole time?
Exactly. You actually nailed it on the head. Hold on.
So did the beer that I gave you from Lehigh or from Syracuse make the wall?
I did. It made it twice. It's up there in the corner.
Oh yeah.
It's down there, and you got the blue light right there. Yeah, no, it's coming together. It's a good I ran out of your moss, so I had to cover the wall with the beer.
It looks good. Looks like you meant to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot prettier than my beer wall was in college. But regardless, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Like and subscribe. Let's have an unreal week 4. Let's win some money. Let's
Shout
enjoy.
out to Postman and Jake for making their first appearance, and Martin too.
Yeah, well, Martin's been on before, but always shout out Martin. Shout out to Cam for being like the guy who actually said he was going to come on and then not coming on. But
He's about to get on. He's almost pulling into his driveway right now.
yeah, that's Cam for you. But yeah, like and subscribe.
Tell your friends.